Hi, and welcome to another episode of If I Speak. If you're new around here, don't forget to like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as our Twitter, as well as our Instagram as well, and follow us on Spotify as well. And wow, all I have to say is what a week this has been for the whole footballing world, really. For people that I don't know or live under a rock or something, then this is actually like taken over the news, like given what with coronavirus and stuff. This European Super League has just it's blown the world really at the moment. It's all resolved now, but the outrage for the past 3 days were just immense. And for people that didn't know exactly the details of the Super League, so I'll read it out. So what it was proposed for it to be was so it's 20 participating clubs with 15 founding clubs and a qualifying mechanism for a further 5 teams to qualify annually based on achievements in the prior season. Midweek fixtures with all clubs continuing to compete in their respective national leagues. An August start with clubs participating in two groups of 10, playing home and away fixtures with the top 3 in each group automatically qualifying for the quarterfinals. Teams finishing in 4th and 5th will compete in a 2-legged playoff for the remaining qualifying positions. A 2-legged knockout will be used to reach the final at the end of May. So that was the proposed Super League that would happen, and the outrage on it on the past 3 days from all the clubs that sort of said yes to it were obviously the top 6 teams were Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, and Liverpool. Those are the 6 English teams that wanted to take part in it, and there were teams from other countries like Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid as well. Teams from Italy, so Inter Milan, AC Milan, and Juventus. Those are the teams that were in it so far, and Florentino Perez, who's the president at Real Madrid, orchestrated all of this, and a lot of protests were going on and stuff for the past few days with Manchester United fans protesting, Chelsea fans obviously protesting just before their game as well. Those are the only 2 protests I know of so far. I'm not sure if there were any more, but those are the only 2 clubs that sort of brought their fans to protest. I think some Leeds fans did some protests as well on Monday.
Burnt a few Liverpool shirts and then
Yeah,
chased
they did
after
as
the Liverpool bus because
that.
Nat Phillips orchestrated all of this, apparently.
Wow.
Giving them the treatment that Liverpool fans gave Real Madrid.
Yeah,
True.
that's true.
Yeah.
Karma, innit?
Yeah.
But yeah, just have to start with like what a week it's been. Yeah, I'll start with Abhinav actually. What are your thoughts just generally on the week just gone so far? It's been insane.
Yeah, I think from a Liverpool perspective, I wasn't surprised that our owners were one of the big pioneers of all this and promoting this as this big opportunity for us. For a while, their business for Liverpool for them is a business model. So to see this opportunity where it's basically a cash cow where they can collect as much money as they can, and I think with the proposed rules there was a wage cap based on the profits. So it was just like a win-win for them. Just for the Super League overall, I think at the beginning I was outraged just purely because of the neglect, just the fact that it came out of nowhere, that there was no warning. I think we were just joking about an article in the morning, I think, wasn't it, on the group chat saying the clubs may announce a Super League in the coming day. We'll see what happens, and everyone was saying, nothing's happening. It's just one of those things where you just kind of joke it off, and people were making jokes on Twitter, just memeing it basically, not taking it seriously. And then just for it to happen, and then a complete neglect for the fans, the footballing staff, so Jurgen Klopp, all the assistant coaches, everyone at the club, and the fans and the players as well. Nothing went through any of them. So this was a decision made from the executives, the higher ups of the club. So all the owners, not even our sporting director was made aware of this. So sporting director is the one making sporting decisions through this, who's making the transfers for us. So the fact that he wasn't made aware of this, it just goes to show like how much this must have been like a year's worth of planning. They must have had meetings. I think I showed a picture in the group chat of John Henry, Glazers working together. They're all the similar type of people. You know what you're going to get from them. So
Yeah.
this is years in the work, and it's just for it to actually come into fruition. I was just shocked initially. The way Perez proposed it, it was kind of like he had a big meeting and everything, and then it was on national TV. Everyone was trying to translate it, and it felt like one of those. Like it was like I was watching Infinity War again, where like Thanos.
Yeah.
Thanos just comes back and starts speaking.
That's a good comparison. Yeah.
And the
It was
thing is,
literally
like,
that. Yeah.
yeah. So the problem is for me is I was rooting for Thanos in Infinity War, so I didn't know where I stood with this, because there was this big speech where he came out saying, "Oh, this is good for football." I thought it was quite funny. Like I took it as an opportunity just to make memes out, just to joke about it. I didn't really take it too seriously.
Sounds everyone, to be fair, at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think, well, like my initial thoughts from that, once everything settled down and I had a clear idea of both sides, UEFA and Super League, is I think the Champions League needed some sort of reform, but the problem is I don't think that's the responsibility of the big 12 clubs, where their primary goal is to make as much money as they can. This is a cash grab for them. So I think that but the problem is the other side of the coin is UEFA are just as culpable. We can't trust any side of this.
Yeah.
So I was for a reform of the Champions League, but the terms that Perez proposed, I did not fully agree with. The idea that that clubs would have a cash injection at the beginning, okay, that's fine, whatever. But it should have been based on merit. It should not be based on the status of a club, the history of the club, because football changes over time. You can't be living in the past. It just seems like all the big 12 clubs that have hit, they use the excuse of the pandemic, that have been hit by the pandemic, even though they had 900 million debt. I think that's what Real Madrid or Barcelona, all the other clubs in total had. So I just think this is just an excuse to kind of clear the debts and start all over again, create kind of like a monopoly within football, and just forget about everyone else. So yeah, that's what I think. And I don't know. I just think it's a bit. If it was on merit, if it was a new league on merit which had playoffs and knockouts, I don't actually mind that. But it's just the motive for this isn't. It's not for the fans. It's not motivated by the fans. It's just a decision made to a pure financial decision. Just individuals that want maximum profits from this.
Yeah, that's fair enough, because like what you mentioned as well, that you can sort of see why they sort of came up with the idea. But I think for me, even when I was thinking years and years ago, I was like, I do want to see all the best and top teams compete in sort of a league or competition, but not in this fashion where it would happen midweek, and then essentially the Premier League would turn into the Carabao Cup. That's basically what it would have been, where all the top teams would have benched players. Like say Chelsea play against Burnley, will probably play like Tino Andrew in that right wing, and then other players as well. So in that sense, I'm glad that it hasn't gone through, because it's basically ruined football in a sense as well. Like I don't agree with the fact that people are saying RIP football, because it was just as corrupt with, like Abhinav said, about UEFA, FIFA, all the governing bodies and stuff. But if the idea was more towards pre-season, where nothing happens during pre-season, it's just pointless matches in a sense, and just to get fitness, then I wouldn't mind a sort of Super League in that sense, where it's pre-season, when it's not to do with any of the competitions at all, just like a sort of friendly sort of like kickabout, basically, essentially. But yeah, Kunal, I'll come to you then next. What are your thoughts overall the past few days and stuff?
I have a few points noted down here. I mean, I did not get to write a lot.
Just a few.
Not an essay. I've just made some pointers that I want to touch upon.
Yeah, fair enough. Go for it, man.
First of all, I'm all for fair competition. So I believe, like, if a team performs well over a season, they should get a chance to play in a European competition. And what we saw with the European Super League was that there were only 5 spots that would open up for teams from all over Europe, which I don't think was fair, because we see a team like West Ham performing brilliant this season, and they might end up finishing in the top 4, which will get them Champions League. But would it be enough to get them into the Super League? I don't think so. And the kind of football that they are playing this season, I think that they fully deserve to play against top European sides. So for me, the Champions League is and should still be the primary European competition. Champions League, one thing that the ESL brought forward was that the Champions League needs reforms, but the new reforms that are being proposed, I think, are bullshit because it still promotes the bigger teams. For example, United finish 6th and West Ham finish 5th. West Ham will still play the Europa League while United get the Champions League. This is when the new reforms come in. So I don't think that if Man United, who I support, play terrible football and manage to finish 6th somehow in the league, they deserve to play in the Champions League because they don't. We saw that one season from Leicester where they won the Premier League. Nobody thought that they would win it, but then they did it on the back of playing amazing football. And that is what we're all about. We watch the game. We don't, even when we're supporters, we support the game first. I think that everybody, all of us and every fan of any team would definitely want to watch a football match. They just don't go out and wear their jerseys and they're like, I support this team. I'm pretty sure that they support football. So it should be about football, and the priority should always be football. And then so the ESL, what it would have done would have pitted all these big teams against each other, which I think that would have.
It's a good idea, but it's gonna be boring, man. Like, who the hell wants to see look? I'm all for seeing big teams playing each other. That's fine, but it gets boring. Like people are not gonna put up with it in a sense. Like, we don't want to see Chelsea play Liverpool, Chelsea play Manchester United every single week because that's just going to be boring.
Absolutely. I mean, we do enjoy the spectacle, but the enjoyment is only there because it happens every once in a while.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
In a 38-game season, we play Chelsea twice. That's it, and that could be at any time during the season.
Like, say
that
October
is why,
and then say like April, for example.
Yeah,
like
so that is why.
That's
it. That's important. But then if you're playing a Real Madrid, a Bayern Munich, a PSG week in, week out, that
boring.
would basically drop the interest that I have in football. I watch every game, and I'm sure you guys do too, especially for your teams. And I'm sure that you enjoy performances against teams like Burnley too, not only against Tottenham and Arsenal, who I think that aren't performing very well this season and shouldn't be in the ESL anyway because they won't be in the Champions League.
God knows how they fluked their way into that, genuinely. Obviously, Nandu and Darius were low-key happy about that, but
these kinds of reforms need to be brought in, but the primary interest should always be playing for the teams who are playing better football and not for money. So it should always be about football first. Money can come in later because I think that if you're playing better football, your club will anyway make more money. We can see Liverpool. Liverpool were probably not in the top 5 or 6 most valuable clubs until 2 seasons ago, but this season they are number 4. And the reason for it is because they have improved their football. They managed to win the Premier League. They managed to win the Champions League, and that has risen the value of the club. So that can be done, but then you have to win for it. And the thing that I think should happen is we should promote these smaller teams, not the bigger teams, because they are already at a level where
they always make money regardless, even if they're in the Super League.
They always make money, and the smaller teams seem to have a handicap at the moment. Because we saw that Chelsea spent 250 million in the transfer window. I don't think that the teams in the bottom half of the Premier League combined spent 250 million.
That's true, very true.
So these teams already have a handicap, and we need to do something to decrease this gap rather than increase it further. Not first of all, I've said a lot, but then, hats off to Chelsea and City because they were the first ones to pull out of the ESL. But I also think that the reason behind it was that Roman Abramovich, your owner, has loved Chelsea. Football is his hobby, and his main motive is not to make money. So that is why they were hesitant to get into it, and that is why they pulled out first. Same with City. I think that their
Same reasons,
owners,
basically. Yeah.
same reasons. Yeah, they want to clean up their image through football, but then their main aim is not to make money. But for Liverpool and United, just because you've got American owners, they want to make money, and that's about it. Arsenal and Tottenham are not even in the conversation because they just get dragged along with the top 6 tag. I don't. Both of them
I
are
mean, you
not
can
in the
understand
top 6.
Arsenal. Like, you can understand Arsenal given the history and stuff, but Tottenham definitely not. Like, Arsenal, you can say fair
Yeah, just
enough.
because
For them, this is just a big payday.
They have a
Yeah,
brand new
yeah.
stadium and everybody wants to play in it.
Literally, that's it. But like going back to what you said about Chelsea and City, like that's what makes me slightly more annoyed at the fact that we said no, and then we said yes, and then we were the first ones to put out. Like, I'm not going to hold a parade over it because initially we were in this as well. We were the cause of this as well, which is why I'm just glad that we're out of it now. Whatever's done is done. But it's a bit annoying how we caved in and bottled it basically by saying yes initially when we said no. But yeah, Karen, what you're saying, Connor, sorry.
Yeah, so I also partly blame UEFA for this. So I have a few facts here, which I would like to state. UEFA has never reacted to racism like they did to Super League.
Very true.
Because it affected their own pockets. They changed the CLS system, which I mentioned, which includes some spots for the elite clubs, which I don't think should happen. They themselves are creating unnecessary competitions. So we are seeing that there is a conference league now.
Yeah,
that is a competition. But then I guess the seventh the team that finishes 7th gets into it from England. A team that is finishing 7th in England, I think that does not have a big enough squad and does not have a budget in order to compete in midweek fixtures anyway. So what UEFA are basically doing at these by making this competition is putting money in their own pockets, and these clubs will just face more problems in terms of injuries, in terms of paying out more to their players, because I think that most players nowadays also have goal bonuses, clean sheet bonuses, assist bonuses,
even signing on bonuses if they sign on.
So they will need to pay their players more, and they will have more injuries. So I don't think that the clubs will make more money out of it. Only UEFA will. And then they basically are killing all the players by adding more and more competition. So I just mentioned the Conference League. They also added the Nations League, which is a random tournament
as well before.
So they're adding tournament upon tournaments, and the players that we love, the players that we enjoy playing, are basically digging their own graves by playing so many games, because a top team would want to play their best players, right? Today, when I see United, I don't want them to play Jon Mata. I don't want them to play Nemanja Matic. I want them to play Bruno Fernandes every week. I want them to play Paul Pogba every week. So only the top players get to play at the top clubs, but then you also have to understand that these players are also humans. They go through injuries, and they also deserve a break, which I don't think that UEFA gives them anyway.
No chance, especially with COVID. I think that's somewhat the reason why they've brought all these new competitions in the fact that they're thinking from their perspective that, we've lost a lot of money in our pocket because of lockdown. Yeah, exactly, and make up for it. Even with Sky and stuff, like, they've not looked after like us generally as well in terms of their prices per month and stuff. It's like approximately you have to pay 50 quid like a month or something to watch Sky and stuff. And even I think even the fact that I was gonna say the pay-per-view stuff as well. Not sure if you guys are aware of it and stuff, but the pay-per-view stuff, like, you have to pay 15 quid to watch like Burnley versus Sheffield United. I'm like, even Burnley Sheffield United fans wouldn't pay that much to watch their own team. It's just like it's like the poison within the UEFA, the FA, the Premier League as well, all governing bodies. Like, us fans should sort of unite in a sense, and that's why the poison that's in those. Yeah, sorry, go on. What you're going to say?
So that's exactly why the Premier League rebranded as from the Premiership to the Premier League in 1992. In 1990, this was an opportunity for them to bring in the biggest billionaires, and basically commercialize football and make it into a big business, a bit like the NBA is now. This has been going on for years and years. So this isn't for people to say this is the end of football. This is just the beginning of the process. So this has been going on since 1992, and I think it's kind of ironic that Sky are coming out here and posing themselves as the heroes, the Gary Neville and Carragher. Obviously, Gary Neville and Carragher have the right intentions. They want football back in the control of fans, and they want what's best for their clubs.
It was OTT though, wasn't it? It was slightly over the top, I think.
I wouldn't say it is over the top, because even if Gary Neville and Carragher weren't on Sky, they would have done the same thing through social media, because they are at a platform where a lot of people watch them and a lot of people follow them. So even if it was not happening on Sky, I think that they would have done the same on their social accounts via Instagram or Twitter or someplace.
Yeah, but the thing is, like an institution like Sky to say, "Oh, this is an injustice to football," they're making it a business, while Sky are charging £58 a month for you to watch half the games, while you have to pay extra for BT Sport. It's just really ironic, I feel, and I think it just goes to show that wherever you look, whether it's in the media, whether it's from the clubs, whether it's from UEFA, whether it's from the governing bodies, or even Florentino Perez, there's no good side to this.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and that's what the fans are protesting about, and it's just a mess.
It is a mess, but the whole point of this episode, obviously, is we're gonna discuss and stuff what happens next, essentially, like what happens now, because I guess in a sense for owners like with Tottenham, Manchester United, Liverpool, and Arsenal, they've all sort of woken up. The fans now, the fans that were sort of on the owner side have now woken up and been like, oh, these guys are absolute mugs now for trying to set up the Super League. So from your, because I know with Chelsea, Man City, our owners are safe because without them we'd essentially be nothing. So I'm obviously grateful with what Abramovich has done, but I've always said it's a love-hate relationship between Abramovich because of the recent sackings and stuff over the past years and stuff, but then the investment into the club's been really good. Like deep down, I know he cares about Chelsea. Same probably goes with Sheikh Mansour, who's the owner of Man City. He feels the same, but maybe less.
It's just fun for him, though. It's kind of like a hobby for him, Sheikh Mansour.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like, why did Chelsea, Man City have to go into it in the first place, where they didn't really need the money?
I think it's pressure
in a way.
Because, say for example,
exactly.
Say for example, there is a Super League and they break away, then Chelsea are left behind with Everton and the rest of the teams, and then financially that's going to hit them massively.
Exactly.
It'll be much harder for them to re-sign back into the Super League because they're not a founder. So I think it's just one of those things where if everyone else around you is doing something, you will be pressured to do it as well. It's just in everyday life as well. So same applies within clubs.
It's true, yeah. But Kunal, I'll go to you on this first. Then I'm assuming you're Glazers out, aren't you? You want?
I am,
you personally want the Glazers out. What do you think needs to happen then? What needs to happen for the Glazers to go with this now? With obviously the Super League stuff happening.
So the Glazers bought United in 2005, and there were a lot of protests back then too that we wanted them out because they were American owners and they were for profit. They bought United in debt. So basically what they did was take a big credit from the bank, put it on the business, and basically the bank bought United for them, and then United were debited by the bank. So United owe the money to the bank now. It's basically the Glazers got United for free with a small down payment. So there were protests back then, but then just because of the genius of Sir Alex Ferguson, we managed to win a lot of things until 2013. But since 2013, we can see that there have been a series of bad decisions in terms of everything. Our vice chairman, Ed Woodward, was a wrong decision because yes, he could get the best sponsorship deals.
He's gone as well, isn't he? Yeah, forgot about that. I told you I forget something, man. This week's just been mad.
Absolutely. So Ed Woodward, he can get us the best sponsorship deals, which I would just like to throw in a random fact there that we get paid more to name the Carrington training complex as the AON training complex than Arsenal do to name their stadium, Emirates Stadium. So we're getting paid more by just naming a training stadium, and it's all up to Ed Woodward. But then he's somebody who isn't a transfer genius, and then he did not hire anybody under him to be a sporting director, and did not have a direct communication with the manager in any way, sorts, or form. Everything he wanted every season was a big name signing so that he could sell the most shirts and make the most profit. Glazers are the owners who have taken out the most dividends out of any club in the world. So we can clearly see that the Glazers here are trying to make money. That is it. And today, Abhinav sent me a post by Ollie. I guess Ollie said that the Glazers are United supporters. I would like to say, yes, they love United, they support United, but they love money more. So they are for money first, and then they want to support the club, because they also own an American football team. And I don't know why it's called football, but yeah.
Over there it is, yeah.
Absolutely. So they basically bought Tom Brady for that team. Tom Brady is an American football player who is the Ronaldo and Messi combined in American football. So if they can do that for their American football team, and they won the NFL the season they bought him. So if they can do it for the American football team, why can't they do it for Manchester United? Because I think that American football is nowhere as big as football in general around the world, and Manchester United are far more valuable as a sports entity than any other sports entity in the world. Only Real Madrid and Barcelona are worth more at the moment.
Yeah.
But they have far more debt than us. So we can see that Glazers have been sucking money out, and I am Glazers out completely. We saw that there were protests today.
Yeah.
The only thing that I want is that they were talking about the German model, wherein 50+1. So even if I could see a situation where the Glazers do keep ownership of United, but then the season ticket holders get to vote for what kind of changes the club needs to implement. So
not just season ticket holders, I think every fan deserves a right, but obviously season ticket holders will get priority.
But then every fan deserves that, but there is no way of authenticating a fan. But with a season ticket holder, if somebody is spending 800 quid on a season ticket,
that's true.
That basically proves that they are somebody who are looking for the club's best interests. Wherein if you go out and look for every fan to vote, so Abhinav could pose as a Man United fan and vote in for things that would just saying in an online survey or something.
Yeah.
So go in and vote, but then only the season ticket holder should have the right to do that. And that is something that I think needs to be looked into, and that is something that needs to be implemented not only for Man United but for all Premier League clubs, because the fans have the club's interest at best at heart.
So would you say you want to implement the 50+1 rule or some other rule which has the fans in place? Because I was looking online and I'm seeing a lot of the time that the 51+ rule it was brought in to stop, like, what was it? It was brought in because the previous models failed, but this has also monopolized the Bundesliga, because if you look at it, Bayern have won 8 championships on the trot and things like that. And so for bigger clubs where the fan bases are bigger, where the 50+ rule is sustainable, it works. But if you get a smaller club where their fan base is smaller, it's a lot more difficult to have proper control and sustain success. So do you think having go on. Like, how do you think having I don't know where I was going with that, but I just want your thoughts on that, actually.
I just think that football is in general a lot bigger in England than it is in Germany. So
they just we won't see to be honest, in Germany. We
won't see a situation I just personally think that we won't see a situation like we did with Bayern, where they're winning 8 at the trot, but then we could see that United were dominating in the Premier League era, and we won 3 titles in a row twice. So that sort of thing can happen without this rule too. It's just about implementing uh, a weighing scale wherein the owners do own the team, but then the fans also have a say into what the club, what direction the club needs to take. So if it's the 50+1 rule, if it's any other rule that the government wants to come up with, the Premier League wants to come up with, I'm all for it. What I want is a fan opinion, and not the kind of spokesperson that we have in our clubs these days, who are basically owned by the teams themselves. They get funded by the teams, but genuine fan opinion should matter.
Yeah.
Distance. You think distance from the club, because I think, like, these sporting directors, they do have they are influenced by the owners, because they're being controlled by the owners. So maybe some sort of foundation where they are distanced from the club, and they for a decision to go through the club, would have to go through the fans as well, or that institution. That's what I think.
Absolutely. So if Ed Woodward is the vice chairman of Man United and he is doing a great job, I think that if he wants to resign, he can resign. But then if the Glazers want to throw him out because he's not putting money in their pockets, that decision needs to be going through the fans first. If the fans approve it, only then will it happen. If the fans are happy with it, they should keep him, because football should be about fans. Football is a sport that is for enjoyment. It's not for making money. Money should always be secondary, and it should always be about the fans.
That's the thing, like, when you say about money and stuff, that's why I think these American owners sort of think the way that they implement the ideas into American, like NBA, NFL and stuff, because that's their culture. They're used to all this stuff, like all the top teams playing against each other, and then no really competition, like no relegation, no promotion or anything like that. You get your huge sums of money and that's it. Then you even move around stadiums as well, even if you're not in that state, for example. But what they've tried to do is just move it over here. And it's just like, nah, this ain't football. This is not the traditional football. Like, fair enough, the traditions America, just leave it in America. Like, fair enough, you can accept that. That's fine. That's just the way the Americans, like, sort of run, basically. But over here,
the American dream, as they call it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the American dream. Yeah, but over here, it's just not going to work because of the outrage, like we saw the protests and stuff, and just how the tradition of the clubs as well. Like I said, Manchester United, Liverpool, and Arsenal, traditionally the three biggest clubs in England. So in that sense, yeah, like it'd be hard to get the Glazers out, I think, from my perspective. Even just getting rid of the owner can be difficult because obviously you need someone to take over. But
and a model like the NBA or the NFL will never work for football, because
no chance.
We can see that NBA is a basketball tournament, but it only works in the US. Same with NFL, it's an American football tournament, but it only works in the US. Football is a global sport. Football is a sport that has the most eyes on it as a sport on its own. And everybody around the globe, the most number of people around the globe watch football, they support football, they have a team that they follow. So implementing something like that over the world is going to be way difficult than it is in America itself. So if they want to do something like this, they can probably have a preseason tournament, like you said, in the States all by itself before our season kicks off. But I don't think that they should even try and touch football.
No chance. But another question, Kunal, just generally then, do you think the Glazers will walk now? Do you think that's it for them after all this, or?
I don't know, to be honest, because we have wanted the Glazers out since 2005, but
yeah,
we have been a money-making car for them, and we are still making money. Our value has dropped after Ed Woodward resigned and the whole ESL fiasco, but we would still continue to make money for them because we are going to finish in a Champions League position this season.
Yeah,
we have signed with TeamViewer, like you saw, a shirt sponsor, the most valuable shirt sponsor in the whole world right now. So Man United will always have that brand name, which is the most valuable, and we will keep making money for them. So it's going to be difficult, but I think that if a proper Man United fan, some billionaire proper Man United fan goes along and is ready to pay them $4 billion for United, they would sell in a heartbeat because they are about money. So if they get the right value for the club, they'll sell it, but they're definitely not doing it for less money than they want, basically.
It's interesting.
And also, like, you have to go.
They're proper
the
businessmen,
Premier
right?
League.
So they'll only sell for the money that they want.
Yeah, it's
And
gonna be
like,
hard
if you
as
look at
well.
Newcastle, like, have you seen Newcastle? They tried to change ownership, and
I was gonna say that.
if you get like a Middle Eastern owner, they have to go to the Premier League, and it's just very easy for the Premier League to say no, we don't want that. We don't want we can't accept that. And for clubs like Liverpool and United, they are the ultimate cash cow. They will keep making money despite the club's performances. Obviously, the Champions League has a big weight on it, where they can gain more finances and whatever, but they'll ultimately still be making profit. And there's no, as Kunal said, they're businessmen. Why do they need to sell if they're still making money? So they and also you have to factor.
I think the pressure, maybe.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to find a billionaire that's willing to that will come to the terms that are like the Glazers and FSG want. And also, sometimes you don't know what you're wishing for. You may get, like, if you look at the Valencia owners, they're rich, but like they're selling club assets, they're selling their best players. So it's not as easy as, okay, we're gonna sell the club. We're selling the club because the fans are mad at us. Because for them, there's no reason for them to sell it. They're making money and they can continue doing that. And yeah, that's the way I see it.
It's not the same like it is with Chelsea, because Roman Abramovich is a fan of Chelsea. He wants Chelsea to do well, wherein with FSG and the Glazers, it's all about making money. They don't want the kind of success they want is finishing in the Champions League spot every season, because that brings in more money. They don't care about trophies at all.
I think that's why I sort of see it differently, in the sense where then you have Chelsea, Man City owners, then the other side you have Tottenham, United, Arsenal, Liverpool owners, where it's completely opposite, in the sense that fair enough, there's a lot of success on your side and stuff, but like you said, like the owners don't necessarily love those clubs as much as, say, Abramovich and Sheikh Mansour love their clubs. But Abhinav, give me your thoughts on John Henry's statement, because I know that you were very unhappy about it. I'm sure the Liverpool fans were as well. But what are your thoughts generally on that?
I think John Henry had to make a statement. There's obviously you can you see that statement. He's sitting in his apartment in Boston with a flower at the back, and he's saying, "Oh, I'm sorry about this."
I saw something that there was writing on the wall, I think, or something like that. You can sort of see the reflections through his glasses. There's a lot of saying that he's reading it off the screen or something.
He's reading what his PR team is telling him to say, and he's been told to say all the right words. And like, even if you look at the back, the flower's yellow, and that's isn't that a symbol for forgiveness or something like that? So they went really, really like in depth to make sure their brand image, because for them this is their image on the line. This is they've broken a lot of trust within the club. Klopp, the sporting directors, they can't trust the owners the way they used to. They can't have. It's very difficult to build up that relationship again. So for now, I don't know what happens with John Henry. I think the recent investment from Redbird investment means that I think John Henry's idea was he was going to take a step back eventually from like being the main owner and let Redbird do all the investing. But I think this has fast forwarded it to now, where he may have to step down, still take ownership of the club, but give more like of the control to Redbird. I don't accept like as people online saying, "Oh, that apology was great. You should just." They made a mistake and they owned up to it. But the thing is, this isn't the only mistake they've made. They've defunded the women's team. They've they tried increasing the prices to £77 per ticket. They tried a furlough scheme. They tried to furlough the staff. They tried trademarking the word Liverpool so that they can get more money. When we finally got to the helm of the Champions League and the Premier League, we bought Adrian and Sepp van den Berg rather than properly investing, and they enrolled themselves onto the ESL. And on top of that, they were one of the main vice chairmen on the ESL. So it's like, if, say, for example, this was the first mistake and they hold their hands up and say, "I'm sorry, we made a mistake. We will take the fans. We will take the fans more seriously, and we will run through the club and everything." I will understand that, because these billionaires, they don't, these American billionaires, they don't fully understand the culture of the club. So they're not gonna, they will make mistakes here and there. They're not, they just, but you can just tell by the way they present themselves. They never turn up to any games. They only when we're winning. When we won the League Cup in 2011, they turned up to the final and they're all lifting the trophy, taking pictures, because it's all PR for them. This is like the beginning. And people are saying, oh, they bought Klopp, so you should be grateful. But the thing is, Klopp was the most logical move you could possibly make. And I don't think without Klopp, Liverpool would be where they are right now. If they stuck with Rodgers, there would just be a club labouring in 6th or 7th place. They would have been a Tottenham, basically, without the Kane, without the Champions League money. Basically, it's just really hard to accept their apologies. And I just don't see, unless, if they buy Mbappe, then I can. If they buy Mbappe,
don't get sucked in, man. All the bad work they've done for you, man.
Listen, what they have to do now, they have a lot of relationships to repair through the fans, through their club. So that starts with this summer. They need to buy the right players, but they also need to show that they've learned them from their mistakes, and I don't think they have. They haven't learned from their mistakes. So, my personal opinion is, FSG aren't fit for this club. The values of this club. It's a socialist club. Liverpool's a socialist club. As the fans and the core values are really, really important. So to have I just don't think FSG are a perfect fit for that. So the problem is, like I said earlier, there's no reason for them to sell. As long as they're making money, they can just say, they can do their videos where they're like, I'm sorry, and then just continue, and then continue with their day, because he'll turn off his camera and then just go back to his apartment and just chill. He doesn't care. Yeah, and the thing is, if you look at the investment that he has put into this club over his entire tenure, I think he's made a 70 million profit. So
wow.
Yeah, so as in transfers, this is just transfer wise, by the way, they made a profit from transfers. Every window, we are a sell to buy club. We have to sell players. Our expansion, yeah, exactly, to buy better players. Our Anfield expansion was a loan. Our Anfield expansion was a loan, which will be paid by the club's profits, not the owner. The owners aren't taking any money out of their pockets. And on top of that, the new facilities that we have in Kirkby, they are paid by the naming rights. So if you look at what they've invested into the squad, they have. I can't give as much credit as I can to Jurgen Klopp or the sporting director, because they've been working with barely anything for now. If that answers your question.
Yeah, I've another question for both of you then. This is an interesting one. I'll start with Kunal then on this one. It's the same question, but just switch it around. But all right, say Man United, the Glazers, bought Mbappe and Haaland this summer. Would you rather have that, or would you rather be stuck with the Glazers?
Stuck with them? What?
As in what? Forever?
Well, but are you saying without? Wait. Say that again.
No. Okay. Yeah. So the scenario is, you buy Mbappe and Haaland this summer. The Glazers cough up that money, or FSG or John Henry, whoever coughs up that money. Would you rather sign Mbappe and Haaland in this summer, or would you rather? No. Or would you rather be sort of be stuck with the same owners that bought you Mbappe and Haaland and won you multiple titles and stuff?
I don't get what the question is.
Okay, yeah. Dory. It's
because
will the Glazers buy Mbappe and Haaland?
Yeah.
So the Glazers are buying them.
But then,
and even if they aren't, they still own United.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about after. Would you? No, sorry. I meant would you forgive them in a sense? Would you forgive them?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, absolutely not. No matter what player they buy. They go out by Cristiano.
Okay,
they go out by Messi.
Okay.
Cristiano, Messi, Mbappe, Haaland, all in one window. I won't forget them.
Wow. Okay. The same question to you, Abhinav. Would you forgive them if they bought Mbappe, Haaland in the summer? And
yes.
You would? Okay. Interesting.
Give me that money.
Interesting.
Give me the best players.
That's what I wanted to ask, because I had a feeling you two would say contrasting things. But But yeah, it's all interesting to be fair. And just going
It's a
back
signal
on
of intent, those type of players. Like if you buy an Mbappe and Haaland, it's a signal to the other clubs that we mean business. But the thing is, even if they buy them, if they
just
if,
because
if the same crap
happens.
happens, say you're forced to sell Mbappe and Haaland, say just for whatever reason, say 3-4 years time, if they want to move on, then you'll sell them and you'll be stuck with your owners, and they wouldn't go back to that. So
it depends what the other scenario is. If we get a different owner, which has a good project, then obviously I'll go with the better project. But if it's just a one-off thing where they buy Mbappe and Haaland and then they go back to their old ways and they sell them, they don't.
That's the reason why I asked the question.
Yeah, then I don't know, but I don't know. Mbappe and Haaland is Mbappe and Haaland, so
exactly. Mbappe and Haaland is Mbappe and Haaland, but then you cannot win titles based on just only those two players.
Exactly.
So you would need a whole team around them. Will FSG or the Glazers be willing to do that? Invest in the team as a whole and not only those two players.
It's kind of like the PSG project. If you look at them, they bought Mbappe and Neymar, and if you look at the rest of their squad, they had to buy free signings and Herrera. A couple of players you wouldn't even knew they expect them to sign. So it's kind of like the PSG scenario. Would you rather have those players but not win the Champions League because they haven't won the Champions League yet, or would you rather have a sustained project where you have sustained success? I think that's. So in that case, I'd just rather have long-term success with the new owner, to be honest, rather than Mbappe and Haaland. Yeah. But it does sound exciting though.
Fair enough. I was trying to tell you.
We saw that PSG lost the final last year with Mbappe and Neymar in their team.
Exactly.
It's gonna happen this year with Chelsea, boys. Don't worry, it's gonna happen this year. PSG Chelsea final. That's it. Oh, not anymore.
PSG champions.
It was. Remember, it was at that stage where they're like, oh, they might kick out Real Madrid, Chelsea, and Manchester City. Well, I was like, oh no, please.
I don't know how any football fan ever fell for it, that they'll be thrown out of the UEFA competitions if they take part in the ESL because they.
You don't necessarily fall for it. When you see it like that, it's like, oh damn, okay.
So basically, just turn the semi-finals into a final. Just eject two teams from both competitions.
Yeah, I mean,
just have the final.
Sense, but you always
get that money goes as well.
You always got that little thought in your head. You're just like, maybe, but nah.
UEFA need money as well, right? So they will want more matches.
That's true. That's true as well. But speaking of UEFA,
and do you think that Roma versus Valencia or
Ajax,
Villarreal,
and PSG versus whoever the other team is, Real Madrid would. All right, PSG, Real Madrid, a big game, but then Man United in the final or Arsenal in the final of the Europa League would be a far bigger game and would bring UEFA more money.
That's true. Sorry,
look how they open their look how they just welcome their arms back. Oh, we're happy to have the big clubs and everything because they know there's money. There's easy money for them. Yeah,
exactly. A minute ago they threatened to kick them out, and now, exactly. They're just like,
because they were fearing they were worried that what they were going to do was going to be taken by someone else, so they had to step in basically.
Or corruption. But just going back to UEFA and stuff now that we mentioned the Champions League, Europa League. So the new sort of format, I don't know if you guys know and stuff, but I'll just say it for people that don't know already. But UEFA have approved the new Champions League format for the 2024/25 season. So it consists of 36 teams with 4 more teams added originally. No more group stages, so just one league. And the top 8 of those reach the knockouts, and every club is guaranteed 10 games. What do you guys make of that?
We've already got a Premier League. I just don't want another league. It just like the Champions League knockout stages is what makes it special. Even like Perez, he is partly right in saying we kind of only look forward to the knockout stages of the Champions League. The rest is just more of a formality. It's just can that club make it through, and then we focus on that. So I just think that this is just obviously a way for them to get more games, get more TV revenue, and this is just beneficial. But they're pitching it as something that will help all the other clubs, which I don't know if it will.
It definitely won't, because this will also mean that the top teams play against the top teams even more, because the 10 clubs that are in the same bracket, they would consist of big clubs and small clubs, unlike the group stage we have now, wherein we have 4 clubs and they could be anybody. Yes, we could have a big tie in there, but not a lot of them. We can't have 3 big teams in one group itself. We only have 2 at maximum.
Yeah, it's just crazy with all this. But do you guys have any of the final thoughts before we wrap this up then about just the Super League in general?
I don't know. Like, where do you think it's gonna, like Perez is going to go with this?
Oh, Perez, he's definitely going to plan something, I reckon, soon enough. I don't think it'll happen right now because obviously everyone's still a bit hot-headed. I reckon by next year, I think something proposed will come through, but I reckon he'll go about it in a different way in a sense where he might even look at pre-season, like we've mentioned that we've sort of wanted. He might look at that. Like I'd be all for that. Whether I just don't want it to affect the leagues itself. That's what I think Perez might plan. What about you? What do you guys think?
I think what's it called? Barcelona's new president Laporta was saying that the Super League the Super League proposal still exists, but he wants one that's based on merit. But I think if they can come to a compromise, because I think the new UEFA proposal, it just doesn't sound that exciting to me. I'd much rather just keep it as it is. If it's not broken, just keep it as it is. So
it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, unless you come with a better solution, and the one they've come up with is not better in any way. No, I wouldn't want Man United to compete in the Champions League if they finish 6th. I would want them to finish top 4th in order to compete in it.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. It's just the
thing is, like, we have no choice now. Now that we backed UEFA, we're gonna have to go through this league system.
No, but then UEFA is saying that they might look into these changes and fix them even more. I just hope that they don't mess it up more.
I think they'll mess it up. You can't, like I said, you can't trust any of these.
Because they're going to consult all the big clubs again.
It's all about money, man. Trust.
Yeah.
All about money. But yeah, guys, this wraps up the insanity week that we've had in the footballing world. And also, just before we go as well, I just want to say a big up to Klopp, big up to Milner as well, Bamford as well, who all spoke really well, especially being thrown in like a really deep position.
Even
Guardiola, Thomas Tuchel as well. You spoke
they shouldn't
really well
even have to speak about it. It's the owners that have basically pushed all the pressure on them to speak to the media. I just think it's disappointing.
Exactly, and most importantly, just big up all the fans as well for uniting. Like, rivalries aside, we're all united as one, which is something that we need to do more often. We need to do more often in order to get the poison out of all these governing bodies. And yeah, that wraps this section up.